No pain, no gain. Oh, it's true. Because anything worthwhile in this world, everything worth fighting for, you're going to have to suffer for it. You're going to have to bleed for it. You're probably going to have to get outside of your comfort zone because that's where the real growth takes place. So I want to tell you all a short story. Many years ago, about 6, 7 years ago, I was giving a speech at Toastmasters, and the speech was called No Pain, No Gain. And it was it was a motivational speech. It was a speech about resilience. It was a speech about overcoming obstacles. I didn't have a ton of time. It's about a 5-minute speech, but the core message was a message of anti-fragility. We're going to double click on that concept, anti-fragility, again and again on this channel, and especially as I start to really cook with this book that I'm writing, anti-fragility. So it was a speech about resilience. It was a speech about anti-fragility. No pain, no gain. Right before the pandemic in San Francisco, my career was kind of popping in tech at the time. I was doing very well for myself. I had just kicked drugs and alcohol. I had overcome insane personal hardship to reach that point professionally, to even get to a point in terms of my public speaking where I could get in a room full of people and try to do a little motivational speech called No Pain, No Gain. And it wasn't a terrible speech. I guess right before the pandemic, the vibe in San Francisco, having some tall white dude in tech, no pain, no gain. Maybe that wasn't the vibe. Who knows? And this one gentleman who was then giving his speech got up. And he didn't have to do this. He went completely off script. But he had to say in front of the whole audience, he says, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, I categorically disagree with everything Christopher Black had to say. I categorically disagree with Chris's speech. No pain, no gain. That's toxic. That might be toxic masculinity. No pain, no gain. I'll tell y'all what life is about. Life isn't a competition, everybody. Life isn't about pain and suffering. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, folks. Obviously, this hurt me. That's why I'm speaking about it, doing a video years later. But he said something in his speech I'll never forget, in his little diatribe, in his rebuttal of my ideas and my framework. He said, life isn't a competition. Life is about long moments of stillness. When you're on the lake with your friends, holding an adult beverage. Now, again, I am paraphrasing, but there's 2 phrases I'll never forget. Something about being by the lake house and something about adult beverages. Now, folks, for me, kid, formerly incarcerated youth, both of my parents were orphans, don't have any brothers or sisters, never met my grandparents. My grandmother died in childbirth. My mother was born in a shack in rural Virginia, blah, blah. That whole chilling on the lake house, as much as my speech might have been, toxic, I don't think it was. It seems like that whole, talk track around the lake house, that's privilege, but we'll double click on that later. But the whole adult beverage thing really got me because I'm a recovering alcoholic. In fact, I lost my mother to alcoholism. My mom literally drank herself to death. God rest her soul. Incredibly tragic. So for somebody like that, who comes from a very different socioeconomic background than me, to basically get in front of everybody and say, life isn't a competition, don't work too hard, you should be hanging out at your parents' house, their lake house, drinking a craft beer with your trust fund friends. It's morally dishonest, but fundamentally it's an inaccurate framework, folks. And that's what I aim to do in this channel, with my book, with my philosophy, is that framework is bullshit. And we all know that. That framework makes a lot of sense when you have affluent parents, when you go to college and you don't know where the financial aid office is. Sure, life isn't a competition. But this channel and my message is for the rest of us, is for those of us living a real ass life, for those of us who don't have any safety nets. That whole life isn't a competition, money doesn't define you. That is terrible advice. Absolutely, money does not define you as a person, your soul, your identity. Absolutely not. But you know what money does determine? It determines whether or not you have access to healthcare, Money determines whether or not you have a roof over your head. It's just that simple. And I know a lot of folks, their parents didn't give them the memo, right? Just to be perfectly transparent, my parents didn't give me the memo either. I had to figure all of this out myself, right? So coming full circle, 5, 6 years later, and since that speech, I've had to overcome even more. Oh my God, rejected by every branch of the United States military. I spent a couple weeks in Palestine. We'll do a video on that soon as well. Oh, you can't make this stuff up, folks. No, I spent a couple weeks in the West Bank. More to come on that. My point, everybody, in closing, is that now in 2025, I haven't had a drink in 10 years. I have an amazing career. I just finished my master's degree from UC Berkeley. I have never been more convinced as to the primacy of what I was saying that day. No pain, no gain. Abso-fucking-lutely. Because everything in this world that's worthwhile, that's worth fighting for, you're going to have to suffer for it. So you're going to have to roll up your sleeves, embrace the pain with respect to, toxicity and not suffering for the sake of suffering. That's absolutely not what I'm saying, everybody. But what I'm saying, folks, is that if you want to grow, if you want to be the best version of yourself, if you want to kick drugs and alcohol, you're going to have to endure some discomfort. So you might as well embrace it. That's all I've got for now, folks. If you've made it this far, I seriously want to thank you. We're doing something really special here on this channel. I'm writing a book. I'm trying to build an audience, and I very much need your help. So thank you so very much for watching. Take care. I'll see you all in the next one.